Yes, sir, you can start, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Mm.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, hope you're all doing well. And I believe that you already had so many sessions over the whole week, and mostly on AR and VR. And can somebody tell me what you guys find interesting about AR? I believe that you might have had at least one session where AR was introduced to you. So, if you can tell me in chat what you feel is interesting about AR, or what you think are possible in AR. Just a few things which you can just type if you can. So you can type about anything, even a single feature that you like, or anything about AR, augmented reality, that you liked. So in the sessions that you had with me, we've been talking only about VR, but now we are going to look into AR. So yeah, we can apply scenarios like forest terrain and simulating. So that is for we talked about in VR. So I'm talking about augmented reality. I think you had a session on mixed reality earlier. So you might have an idea about what augmented reality is. Or if not, I can give you an intro on augmented reality first. Okay, no responses. Okay, that is very surprising. Yes, application for AR. Floor planning is a really good example, sir. That is totally right. So even architectures, and I'm working with an architecture firm who's actually using AR for floor planning, and not just floor planning, for interior decor, for BIM and structural engineering. We can actually, so for if there are any civil engineers here, they would be interested in hearing that BIM technologies are coming to AR, and like it will be a very normal. It is already a normal thing among many companies, and even most students who will be going into BIM firms and structural engineering firms will be very familiar with Unity and Revit and augmented reality and virtual reality very soon. Because if they know, like, it will be very interesting if you could teach them that while you are in college itself, while they are in college itself. So yeah, let's move on. I think I should, since there are no responses at all here, I'm going to, I'll just give you a basic introduction to augmented reality. So that so that you can get, because I'm not really sure if you already had a good impression of what augmented reality is as of now. But so I'll just give you a basic intro on augmented reality. Since you already know a little bit about Unity, I won't be taking Unity as of now. I'll show you how. I'll show you what you need to use to make a augmented reality in Unity, and I can share tutorials for that. But today we'll be seeing a totally different software altogether, which is called Spark AR, which Facebook introduced, which helps you make amazing augmented reality apps that can be deployed to Instagram or Facebook, which are being used by many marketing agencies, even engineering companies, even for product launches, all kinds of things they have been using Spark AR for. And and the best thing about that is you don't need to have any programming knowledge or any idea of any other kind of technology to actually use this. So this is a very easy to use software which does not need coding, does not need any prior experience to actually make an AR app. And you can make an AR app in less than 5 minutes if you want to, and deploy it to Instagram and see it on your phone, all under 5 minutes if you want to. So yes, Suvendu sir, AR in automobile section is being very widely used even now. I am in talks with an automobile company who is actually using 3D real-time 3D simulations, and if there are mechanical engineers here, you might also know that there is something called fluid simulation, the CFD simulations, where you use ANSYS to actually make simulations. You will be using, right now we are bringing that, companies like us are bringing that technology to AR, where people can actually see the simulations and the designers and engineers can make decisions and real-time simulations by visualizing it easily. So, the technology is growing very fast, and AR is becoming mainstream, and it has lived up to its hype, and it is going to be a very prominent. It is going to play a very prominent role in our lives very soon. And yeah, so moving on, I'll just start by sharing my screen, and we'll get started. Okay, so please let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. So, starting with augmented reality, let me just present. Before moving on to Spark AR and actually going into the hands-on session, I think I should give you a basic introduction on what augmented reality is. We did briefly discuss about it in our first session on Monday, but I'll go into a deeper dive today. So let's get started. So augmented reality by base is what augmented reality basically is bringing digital information to the user's real time in the real world. When you're looking, like, you see your real world, your physical world, and you're bringing 3D elements now, or 2D elements, or any media digital elements into your real world, where you can interact with it, play around with it, and make functional use of it. So this is probably going to be one of the most like how smartphones changed our life. Augmented reality is starting to change our life. I can actually, towards the end of the session, I will show you how soon we could probably see a very customer friendly device that is coming to our real world from an Indian company itself. So moving on, so the most famous examples of augmented reality that everyone, like, famous in the sense, since something that everyone has been using for the past, at least for the past 4 years. Some of these apps have been here for around 7 years. Like Snapchat was probably the oldest company that made augmented reality applications for the masses, that has made augmented reality available to everyone using their very simple filters called face filters. It started with this, you can see my face with a dog's ears and mouth and nose and everything. But that is what brought, introduced people to augmented reality. But people didn't know what it was even until now. Like, most people don't know it even until now. Then there was a time around 2014, I think 2016, where Pokemon Go was launched, and you might have seen many of your students walking around campus with their phones, if phones are allowed in your campus, like walking around with their phones trying to catch Pokemon under the tree, in the canteen, in the classes, or even even all around town as well. So even I used to play Pokemon. I used to try Pokemon Go just because I was so interested in trying out an AR application that so many people are using, where you can actually, there will be 3D Pokemons where you can throw a Pokeball and catch these digital creatures. And the one of the most amazing applications of AR was that it was introduced by IKEA. So many companies were very reluctant on using AR for the first time. And what IKEA, the famous furniture manufacturing company, world famous for one of the, I think they are the one of the best furniture manufacturing companies in the world, and they took a risk of actually making every single one of their furnitures in 3D and making an AR app. So it's probably not available in India now, but it will be very soon, since IKEA stores have come out in Hyderabad. So what the app does is, you can actually select any furniture from their store that is available in your area or available for delivery in your area. And then it's like shopping in Flipkart for furniture or Amazon for furniture. You select a sofa or a bookshelf or a painting or a rug, and then you can place it in your living room. You can place multiple items in your living room, and you can see how the furniture looks. So it before even buying it, so you can see it in real time. You can see how it looks in your living room before actually buying the furniture, which was an amazing feature. And it is still being used by many people, and you can buy this from the same app itself. After you placed it, if you like the furniture, you can actually pay for it and it will get delivered to your house. So in the first session that we had, I might have introduced you to, I think I did introduce you to this particular graph. So this is a graph that I use all the time because this is the most easiest explanation of the differentiation between augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality. So if you remember our session correctly, uh, towards the physical reality is where augmented reality lies. It is very close to the physical reality. That is because we are bringing digital elements to our real world. We are not going into the digital realm, we are bringing them into our world. So when we start building an AR application, we need to choose what kind of AR application we will be using. So these are the most prominent or most understood or accepted differentiations of AR. So one is marker-based AR, then there is marker-less AR, and then there is projection-based AR. So marker-based AR is when you actually need to have a physical image or a marker or some kind of a QR code, or it can be any 2D picture that is maybe stuck onto a can or a box or anything. You'll need to use a marker. Like the camera will detect if when the camera detects that image using using each sharp edge of the image, it will detect the image, and then it will place a 3D character or any 3D experience, or it doesn't just have to be a 3D, it can be a video or something like that. There was a time when Times Magazine used this technology where you can show your camera to your phone, and you can actually, for articles, you can actually see videos on the magazine. So it is like something that comes right out of Harry Potter, where you can see Sirius Black. You might have seen the newspapers in Harry Potter, right? Where it is like a video that is running on the paper. So augmented reality is magical in that way. So that is about marker-based AR. Then there is marker-less AR, where you won't need a marker. What the phone does is it actually detects the environment. It actually places the objects in the environment depending on depending on the basic the basic floor surface that will be detected by the camera. That is basic CV. It is very close to mixed reality, but it is not mixed reality. So it detects just one surface or maybe two, one vertical surface or a horizontal surface, which will be a floor and a wall. And then you can place these elements in your living room or in your space right in front of you. So that is how Pokemon Go and IKEA AR actually works. Pokemon Go uses GPS coordinates, and IKEA uses basic markerless AR, where you detect the floor plane and then place objects onto it. So another kind of AR is called projection-based AR, which is when we have a projector and a camera connected to the top. So not this kind of a camera that will be used for that will be connected to a computer that will be assessing what is happening in the area, and when you view the whole UI or user interface will be on top of the projection, and when you click on things. The camera detects where you have pressed or where you have swiped or something, and then that gets translated to that gets translated to the process, and then the projection gets updated depending on what kind of interaction you did. So once you've chosen the type of AR, you need to choose the target device. So there are, like in VR, where we had so many different kinds of devices to choose from. For AR, there is a basic differentiation between mobile AR and eyewear. So mobile AR is basically the very democratized version of AR, where is a democratized version of AR where anybody can use AR. So all of the examples I showed earlier were mobile AR. Uh, where the augmented reality application runs on your phone. So Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Pokemon Go, IKEA AR, all of these apps are mobile AR applications. Whereas there are devices like the HoloLens and the Magic Leap that actually are mixed reality headsets, but they can also be used for augmented reality as well, because mixed reality and augmented reality has a very fine line, as you might recall from the graph I had shown earlier. So how many of you know what the name of this device is, the second one? I'm sure that, or can you just name, I just named them, but can you just type in chat what are the names of these two devices? Since you already had a session, I'm assuming that you might know the names. Can you type in chat what the names of these two headsets are? If you were not shown this earlier by any other speaker, please let me know in chat. HoloLens, yes, Preeti ma'am, that is definitely correct. The first one is HoloLens. Can you name the second eyewear that is here? And Reshu ma'am as well, it is HoloLens, correct. What is the name of the second headset here? This headset actually belongs to one of the most valuable startups that came up in the last few years. It is funded by Google. It is funded by Alibaba. It is funded by many of the top investment agencies in the world. Magic Leap, yes, Professor Suvendu, it is correct. That is Magic Leap, and it is, if I remember correctly, the company has a valuation of over $6 billion even before it launched their first development kit. Think about it; it became a $6 billion company even before actually launching the product. It was that. So that is how much so many tech companies believe in augmented reality becoming a mainstream condiment. So for creation of 3D items, as we discussed earlier in VR, we'll be using the same tools as well. For 3D creation of 3D, you can use either Blender or Autodesk Maya or Cinema 4D, which are 3D creation tools. Blender is an open source tool. Maya and Cinema 4D are paid tools. But you can get free student licenses. If the students need to make 3D elements, you can get student licenses, which are for free. So yeah, you create 3D objects in one of these softwares or any 3D software out there, and then you'll have to use an engine, just like we did for VR. So AR, so all of these engines actually work with AR as well. They were the most convenient softwares that could be used to actually build augmented reality applications. So as you can see, Unity is the biggest, and Unity is the most widely used augmented reality development tool. And then there is Unreal Engine that we discussed earlier, and Godot, which is a open source game engine. If I know that there may be FOSS clubs in colleges, so free and open source software clubs, and students who only prefer free and open source software, they can actually try out augmented reality with Godot game engine. So if not these, there is also other ways to actually build augmented reality apps. So all you can actually use Android Studio or Xcode. Android Studio for making Android apps, and Xcode for building iOS apps. So within Android Studio, there is this framework called, there is this I think it's a platform. It is an extra add-on platform called SceneForm, which can actually enable you to build augmented reality applications for Android Studio. And similarly, for Xcode for iOS phones, you can use this platform called SceneKit, which the only thing is that whoever is using these would need to be well versed in Android Studio or Xcode. Otherwise, it would be very hard for them to understand what is happening, because it is mostly like pure programming in Java or in Objective-C. So other than this, you can use several development tools that are available that can work with Unity, Unreal Engine, or Godot, or any other development toolkits. And the most prominent one is ARKit. ARKit is a platform that is built by Apple itself, and it is a platform that runs only on iPhones. Whenever you're creating an AR application for iPhones, I would always suggest that you use make use of ARKit. So ARKit uses plane detection. It detects the horizontal face, vertical face, and flat surfaces, which are mainly like large tables and stuff like that. It can detect that. So I'll just show you a quick video. Maybe if we have time, I'll just go through. I'll just run through the video because we will. So I'm pretty sure that the audio is not, you can't hear the audio. So you can see that using ARKit, they have built a simple game that is, oh, sorry. They have built a simple game, kind of like Angry Birds. They have built a whole table of contraptions, and then you can play multiplayer. Two-player people can play and destroy things, and similarly, you can make shared augmented reality stuff as well. It is detecting the surface of the table and placing the whole game area there, and making use of multiplayer game server, a basic multiplayer game server, to actually sync the whole environment together, and so that both people can see the same thing. Similarly, AR Core is the counterpart, or the alter ego of ARKit. It was built. This one is built by Google, which works on all Android phones, and it has environmental detection, which is horizontal and vertical. So by vertical, it can also detect large tables as well, but not as great as ARKit. It uses SLAM to actually. It uses basic SLAM to actually help you navigate, and it uses light estimation. So you can see here that I'll just show you a quick demo. Okay, let's see something that is interesting here. Yeah, so you can place objects in the real world, just like in ARKit, and it also does light estimation. So if you turn off the lights, the 3D objects also lose light as well. So it is very similar to ARKit, and the best thing about AR Core is that it can work on both Android and iOS. But on iOS, ARKit works better. On Android, only AR Core works. And the only drawback of AR Core is that it only works with it works with most phones above 15,000 rupees. But most of the lower end budget phones might not run AR Core as of now, but we can see that coming up in the future. So then there is this very famous toolkit called Vuforia. When I started working in AR back in probably 2014, I used Vuforia because it was the easiest thing to do. I saw a tutorial on YouTube that said 5 minutes to make your first augmented reality app, and it did just that. So what you can do is you can open up Unity. It takes a lot more than 5 minutes, obviously. It was just a clickbait, but still, it was very easy to make apps in Vuforia. All you need to do is it used to be an SDK that needed to be imported to Unity, and we can just drag prefabs in, drag 3D objects, and then just build without even writing code. You could get basic AR applications. So something like this. It was mostly meant for marker based AR, and so but they later on, by the end of 2017, they actually became more plane related. It started detecting basic planes using the phone's orientation. Then it actually integrated with AR Core and AR Kit uh, to actually detect high-end planes and make it for high-end phones. It worked with AR Core or AR Kit, which was even better. And it was a really amazing toolkit. And later on in 2017, it integrated with Unity, and you didn't have to import a separate SDK into Unity to actually use it, but it was already within Unity. But in the newer versions, Vuforia has been taken out since Unity came out with a different kind of platform that brings all of these platforms that we discussed into one single under one single roof, which I'll just briefly show in a bit. So let's see how we design AR interfaces. So basically, for defining interactions in AR, you have three different kinds. One is static, one is fixed, and one is glass. So I'll show you what each of these mean. So one is static and fixed on the glass. Glass means the screen itself, so it will always be fixed. Like I had mentioned in yesterday's session, these elements are called diegetic UI. It will always be stuck onto the screen, and you will always be seeing it there. It is not really AR, but it is one type of interaction that can be used in AR because you need buttons, you need other kinds of elements that need to stick to the screen like this. Another thing is static and locked in space. So when you place an object or an image or maybe a 3D object in mostly an image in space, it is called static and locked in space image. Then if you can move things around, it can be called dynamic and flexible. These are not very scientific terms. I mean, they're not fixed all around the world. These are terms that many common developers use, some like myself. So that's why I'm using these words. So then there is dynamic 3D, where you can interact the objects in 3D space. Especially the IKEA AR app, you can actually place an object, rotate it, place it in other places and stuff like that. That is basically dynamic 3D, which is flexible in space. Then there are these proportionate objects. So sorry, IKEA AR is actually proportionate in space as well. So using AR Core and AR Kit can actually let you give you a good idea of what the user space looks like, and it places objects at scale depending on how big this person's room is. So yeah, when you're actually making an application with Unity, an augmented reality application, you need to do, or rather not just augmented reality applications, for any application as such, you need to do ethnographic research, which is basically UX and usability testing with different kinds of users, understand how users use it, because AR and VR are very new to users around the world. It is always best, the developers might or not always know which is the best possible way to interact for the users to interact with the environment. So it is always best if you do proper UX and usability tests, which is taken for granted in most companies. Even probably companies I have worked with may not have given proper under interest of UX and usability testing, but every major company in the world is make sure that they test it, they get user inputs to actually build apps like this. And it is very important for AR and VR apps to be tested with people and get their feedback and then make changes. Because whenever I actually make an app, I make sure that I have a focus group of at least 10 people trying it, giving me inputs, and then I make changes to the whole experience depending on their inputs. So if that is not there, what happens is when you deploy the app, it could pose problems to many people. Like it may not work for several phones. It may not be very intuitive. Some people may not understand how to use it because AR and VR are very new. So especially in AR, because it is very much more, to the consumer, it is easily accessible for the consumer. It has to be very well designed as a product. So let's look at some quick examples. I know that audio won't play, but audio is not really necessary here. So you can see that. So earlier, I think one of the professors mentioned that we use augmented reality for in the automobile industry. So this is a prototype of what Ducati uses. Ducati, the bike company, uses to actually uh, train their you know train their maintenance people, who, what do you call, like people in the factory who actually, yeah, assemble the things. So this is a projection based AR training setup where it lights up and shows you where to place objects, and if you place it in the wrong places, it will tell you that you have placed it in the wrong place, and it will show a red light. So in the interest of time, I'll just move on. So this is another example of augmented reality in the medical space. So yeah, here they are using HoloLens to actually visualize a CAT scan in 3D. So they can actually see it, they can visualize it. So using HoloLens, you can bring a screen anywhere you want and actually make use of it, scale it, and depending on it, you can. So they used a CAT scan to actually make it, sorry, CT scan to make it into a 3D, and then for every patient they can decide where these things go. So some of you might have seen in the movie Yandiran by Rajnikant, where for the process of delivering a baby, he could see through the person's X-ray and actually show it on a TV screen. So this is like bringing that technology to real life. So this is a product by a friend of mine who is in wait, who's in Ireland right now, and who has built a mixed reality projection based torch, which is called Lumen. And it uses a very smart computer vision technology to actually detect the objects in front of you and project UI or information depending on that. There is a projector, a camera, and a depth sensor. You can just look at objects. So it does basic computer vision things. You can identify objects. You can project several kinds of different kinds of AR projections. So this is an example of how he uses it for IoT. So he looks at a stereo and looks at this light and actually changes color depending on where you're placing the phone. These are all projection based. This is a projection based AR setup. It uses high-end machine learning, like decent machine learning to actually identify objects and make it. And he used very open source objects to use it. Yeah, I mean, build it. Used a basic Raspberry Pi to build the first iteration, and then built his own custom boards to actually go when he moved forward with it. So here he's bringing you know, um, museums to life with it, and yeah, that is something. So that's the end of that. So, so far, do you have any questions regarding AR? Then we can move on to Spark AR. I'll just give you a basic introduction to Spark AR, and then we can move on to the hands-on section.
Any questions, participants? Okay, sir, you can.
Okay, I'll just move on.
No, is AR kit by open source? One question is there.
Okay, so
Right.
AR kit is not open source, but it is free to use. So you can use AR. So AR kit, you will get a Unity package that will be you can download and use. Another thing is that you can use from a package that I will show next, which Unity already has. So AR kit you can download and use with any software, any game engine that you are using, and it is free to use. They won't charge you anything for using it. Only thing is that it will only deploy to iOS phones. Any other questions? You're welcome, sir. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, sir, you can move on, sir.
Yes. So let's talk about Spark AR. So in the talks that we had till now, I did not mention Spark AR even once. That is because whatever I talked about earlier was very proprietary software that you can build, proprietary application that you can build, and it uses Unity 3D exactly like you used to make the VR application yesterday. So Spark AR is a completely different tool altogether. It is built by Facebook. You can only deploy it to Facebook and Instagram, but it is a very intuitive and interactive toolkit, and it is the easiest tool for people to make AR applications. Even when I actually ideate on building AR applications, before actually going into building the applications in Unity or Unreal Engine or Godot, I actually try it out on Spark AR. So in Spark, if for something that I can build on Unity or maybe Unreal Engine in maybe 1 week or maybe 1 month, I can build on Spark AR within 1 to 2 days to actually test it out. It may not have the whole functionality, but I can at least build a prototype to test it with people and see how they react to it, and then actually build the actual application, taking, after understanding this. Otherwise, if you're taking like 1 week or 1 month to actually build in Unity or Unreal and then bring it out to testing, and when you actually try out, when the user tries it out and then there are changes, it takes a lot more time. Here I can actually cover, build the application in 2 days, and then make all the changes I need and inputs from the users within 1 week, and then start developing in the actual platform. But if it is for marketing, or if it is for product launches, if it is for basic games, interactive games that needs to be deployed to social media, then Spark AR is the best place to use. The biggest advantage of Spark AR is that whatever you make in Spark gets instant user attention, because when you make your own application, the only problem is that finding users. When you build a B2C application, which is from business to customer, um, yeah, directly to the customer. When you're building an application that goes directly to the customer, um, sorry, excuse me for that. um, yeah, when you're building it for directly to the customer, like nobody, if you put it on a Play Store, App Store, if you don't do proper marketing, you need to pay a lot of money for marketing to actually get it to people, and if you don't do that, nobody downloads it. Only your friends and family probably downloads it, and people who see when you share the application. So very few people download it at first, and it takes time to actually, if it is an marketing or entertainment kind of application or a game, it takes time. So if you want instant audience attention, it is best if you make in Spark here, because Facebook already has a huge user base. So if you just deploy it to Facebook, Instagram or Facebook, you're immediately getting billions of users that can actually see your application. And depending on, by paying a small amount, the Facebook or Instagram even promotes your Spark AR or even Instagram or Facebook posts that promotes the experience. So Spark AR uses augmented reality. Spark AR is, as the name says, it has Spark AR in it. So it is augmented reality itself. So yeah, all these you might have seen earlier. This is the same graph that I've been explaining. Since it is AR, lies close to the physical reality, and basically AR. Yeah, I did talk about the. Okay, this is a very interesting thing. So you can see this image, right? So let me just bring in this so that I can see the chat. So can you tell me what these images are and how these are like? Can you name what movie or program these images are from in chat, please? Iron Man, yes, Iron Man. To everybody can easily identify. Any of the other images, can anyone identify? Vegeta, yes, that is Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. Then any of the other two? Last one is Terminator, that is correct. And this one, Okay, this one is by a movie called Minority Report by Tom Cruise. So what is common in these four movies is that they all have augmented reality in one way or another. So in the case of Iron Man, when he's wearing the suit, whatever Jarvis shows, it is all in AR, augmented AR itself, or you can argue that it is mixed reality. It can be a bit of both. And when Iron Man is actually building in the movie, when he's building the building the suit itself, everything is holographic augmented reality. It is like way ahead in the future. So if you are familiar with the cartoon series, you might know that there is a small headset kind of scouter thing where it detects the power level of the enemies. So this character here, Vegeta, is wearing the scouter, where by wearing it, it tracks the user as well and also shows the power level of the user. So in Minority Report, they have a really interactive screen and augmented reality projection. It is not a projected screen; it is a transparent display where you can. It is kind of like an advanced projected screen where it is very interactive to use and stuff. And most of you, I'm sure, have seen the Terminator movie, where whatever the Terminator sees, is stuck. When the enemy is moving, he can see that the target acquired all the data he sees. So it is all augmented reality. So when we are working with Spark AR, we won't be dealing with any of these, but just for the sake of understanding the history of AR and just showing it. So when you come to Spark AR is mainly social mobile AR. So like I said, mentioned earlier in Snapchat, Pokemon Go, these are all social. Ingress, uh, can anyone tell me if you've played the game Ingress? Yes or no? Or have you heard of it? Even if it is no, please just type in no. That is also fine. Because Ingress used to be a very famous game back in 2012 to maybe 16. Um, so Ingress was the father of Pokemon Go in some way, because Ingress was possibly the first ever augmented reality game where you had to move around places in your city and capture augmented reality structures. There will be two factions. One will be resistance. One will be the, I don't know, the superior kind of people, and then you'll be put in one of these teams, and everyone in the world, like there were over 3 to 4 million people playing this all around the world. And even in cities like Chennai, Trivandrum, even in local cities, there used to be maps, and people there can play around with it. So what they did was they used the whole map of the world and placed structures on every single public places, and you need to play to actually acquire the place. So you can't play by sitting at home. You had to go to the actual place to actually capture it. So if the the tower, or the if one of the towers or things that you need to capture or support was at a famous park in front of you, or if it is in, let's say, Bangalore, there could be like 10 places in Cubbon Park itself, and you had to go there and play. It used to be really fun because you're not the only one playing. You could see that the other person or enemies playing are also coming to the same place to play. So it was a social interaction. So the same concept was brought into Pokemon Go as well. So then comes, when we talk about Instagram and Facebook apps, you might have seen, I'm pretty sure most of you use Instagram or Facebook. Even if you're not, I'm sure that you might know that there are these filters like these that are there in Facebook and Instagram. I'm not sure if most of you know that Facebook also has this feature, but Instagram has had this feature for a long time. So moving on. Yeah. So let's talk about Spark AR. Spark AR is a very interesting software. Uh, it has a lot of features. I'll just talk about them one by one. So, what are the things that you can build with Spark AR? Spark AR is a no-code software. Not really no-code. You can make apps without coding at all. But if you want to go the extra mile and make it more interesting, you can actually use JavaScript to actually code some more, like make it more interesting. So one of the most widely used features of SparkAir is to make face filters. So you can actually, the app actually tracks your face and places any art or 3D objects onto your face. It maps the mouth, eyes, and gestures. It can track every single facial gesture when you frown, sad, open your mouth, bring your tongue out. Let's say if you raise your eyebrows, if you just nod your head, even if you tilt your head as well, it can track that. So it is very interesting because when before SparkAir, when if I had to make something like this, I'll have to make a whole CV application, computer vision application to actually uh, set this up. Tracking the eyes, tracking the nose, tracking the mouth, adding focal focus points, and then tracking the distance between each focus points, how it changes. All these, making something like this would have taken months. It would not have been easy, even with free and open source code. We just hack out of GitHub. uh, it would still be a hard task to make something like this, but Facebook is just giving it to you. Just use it. It is that simple. Like, tracking a face is not as easy as it sounds, but Facebook makes it looks very easy. Within just 2 or 3 steps you can actually make a face tracker. Then there are world effects, like we talked about in, let's say, IKEA AR app. So you can make similar applications where you can place objects in the world plane that is on your floor. So you can bring 3D objects, 2D, photos or whatever, into your space. Turning your phone's back camera on, you can place things here. Then an interesting thing that is specific to the Facebook camera alone is that you can track hand gestures. So if you are moving your hand, it will follow your hand. So you'll need it will follow your hand. So you can see that when the person is moving her hand down like this, it is showing some sort of a rainbow effect. So it is actually tracking the hands, and it is that easy to use. It doesn't work with Instagram for some reason, because Instagram is not capable of doing that yet. But Facebook camera, the Messenger camera app, actually has this feature. If you build an app that has hand tracking, it can be used to work with the Facebook camera. Then there is market detection. So they can also do market detection. You can put in a 2D image and make the camera track the 2D image. Let's say, for example, something that I did recently for a friend of mine for free was that he was giving out cards of thank you notes to his employees for, helping him out and still working hard during the COVID time. So he wanted the certificate, the card to be in AR. So we just used SparkAir to make it. It took me like less than 2 hours to make it. Made a simple graphic on top of it, and the employees were very intrigued, because it was very interesting for them to have things come out of their certificate, showing the company's gratitude towards them. So, uh, I told you that there is no coding involved in Spark AR. So, but still, you'll need to actually build, functionalities. So that is where the patch editor comes in. So patch editor is a no code editor kind of setup that is there in Spark AR, which is very easy to use. It has nodes, and all you have to do is just connect things to other things using. It is very similar to how flowcharts work, but in a more detailed version. If you're familiar with the Scratch editor, or if you're familiar with, let's say, Grasshopper in the software called Rhino. If you worked in 3D softwares for Civil CAD or something like that, if you use Dynamo, you would be familiar with something like this. And this can be used by people who have no experience in any coding understanding at all. All you need is logic. If you have the logic, you can build the app. All you need is basic logic. Even school children can make it easily. Like, I have a cousin who is 5 year old and who just makes things on the laptop, like using the patch editor. So yeah, so let's move on to the hands-on part of the session. So for hands-on, okay, just let me just close this, discard. So once you have downloaded Spark AR, you will have an icon like this, and you have to double click it to open it. If anyone wants to try out right now, you can also do that because you will get it very easily. So first of all, you'll need a Facebook login to actually log in. I'm not sure if I remember my Facebook login correctly. Okay, so when you log in with your Facebook, so you need Facebook account to actually make it. If you don't have a Facebook account, I suggest that you just make a random Facebook account for yourself. You don't have to use it, but for the sake of using Spark Air Studio, you could just make an account and then log in. Or you can just go here and click sign up, and then you can sign up for Facebook and then actually make this. So once the Spark AI Studio opens up itself, you can see that there are so many templates here. So even if you have no idea what you will be doing, you can just click on any of these templates and just do it. So you can see that there is these are new ones. So I'll just go with all the templates. So one is a 3D animated poster where you can put in a poster or an image and make it track, make a 3D object or a 2D object come out of it. And yeah, so it will be a marker based AR application, or you can change the background of the person. Like when you have Instagram filters where the background of the person changes, you can build that, or you can build world space objects where you can place objects in your real world and then move things around and have animations and stuff. Then there is face detection that we talked about. Then there are color filters, which are very prominent in Instagram. Then there is something called the face mask, which will be so face, face filters. Like there, you can add either 3D like the glasses here, or you can add 2D face paints like this. Then you can add makeup as well. Like there are very interesting beautification uh, uh, choices or options on Spark AR, which if you want to make a beauty filter, you can easily make a beauty filter. If you want to make different kinds of lipsticks or foundations on top, you can do that. So then there are object reveals which need 2D and 3D animations. Then there is neck decoration because it tracks where the neck is, and you can place it on the neck, and then you can track the head and place things on the head. Then there are options to have multiple buttons on top where you can click buttons and change what you're seeing in AR. Same with 2D and 3D. Then you can there is an option to change eye color. There is an option to change hair color as well in AR. So these are all the templates that are there, but you don't need a template to start. These templates are to help you start if you want to. If you are not very if you're not very if you not use Spark AR much, or if you have not experimented with Spark AR enough. But what you need to do is just the basics. I'll just start a blank project, which will be new project. I'll just click on new project, and I can choose one of these options. I'll just choose let's start with face tracking. I'll just click on face tracking. So Spark AR will open up. So this is what the Spark AR UI looks like. Sorry. So this is what Spark AR, the UI looks like. It looks, I'm sure that you might have noticed that it looks very similar to Unity, not just because of the black color, but it looks very similar. And it's not just, it is meant to be so because it is meant for, because this is the same layout or similar layout that every 3D software uses, or even 2D Photoshop kind of softwares also use. So it is very easy for any creator or people who have used other similar softwares to actually come and use this. And moreover, the user experience for a new user is also very interesting. So I'll just talk about each of these windows. So one is the scene window, which is very similar to the hierarchy window in Unity because you have layers I'll talk about each of these layers in a bit. Then there is a layer tab as well where you can group things together and then add here, which will not be touching today. Then there are these tabs at the left. You can select workspace and choose whether you want to open the patch editor. Patch editor is the node-based visual coding system that I showed in the presentation a little before, but we won't be using it now. So I'll just close it, and you can also choose to show or hide the console. Console is basically similar to what we saw in Unity. When there is a coding error, or when there is an error in patch editor, it shows up here. Or when you code in JavaScript, there is an option to write code in JavaScript as well here, which you can, when there is an error in the JavaScript code, it shows up here. I'll just close these two for now. And then there is an option to actually use different cameras. So this is a very interesting feature because no other software has this. So you can see that there is a man doing very weird expressions over here, which is very useful when we are actually testing and building an application. So you have different kinds of people, so you can test out how if the face filters look good on all these people. And then there is a plain the default kind of camera which you can just look around. And then there is another template which is like a 360 photo, which when you're looking around it looks so this helps when you're making an application that works with the back camera. So the most interesting feature is that you can bring in your own camera. Since I'm using the my camera on the call, let me just turn my video off here. Okay, so now that my video is off, so you can see that whatever camera your laptop has, it gets selected by default here. You can just click on the camera and the camera opens and you can see your own face here. So how useful this is, like you can, if you're not satisfied with any of the other templates, you can actually use your own face to actually check how the effect is working. I'll just keep that out for now and then use this guy. This guy is my favorite. So yeah, let's move on. So camera, then there is an option for pausing the effect. You can pause it at any point and play. Then there is an option to stop and then play again. You can restart. So these are very interesting because people don't need much of an explanation to understand these. You can just hover over these and understand what these are. Click on these and nothing will nothing bad will happen. It will only it does not cause any harm to the projects that you do. Then at the bottom here you have the assets tab, which is similar to the assets tab in Unity. That is why I took Unity first and then thought of doing this later, because it is a lot easier to explain once you see, you understood Unity. So you can import objects from your computer, or there is an AR library. So if you don't have 3D objects or anything, all you have to do is just go to this library and then you can just import these objects into your assets. Let me just import something. All you have to just click on these things and then just import. So if you want a car, you just have to search car, and then it'll just find a car 3D model or an audio clip from somewhere, from Sketchfab, the sites I shown earlier, or from Google Poly. It's very interesting. So you can just click on view all, and then all different kinds of cars. You can download any of these as well and then use. So similarly, all you have to do is type, search, and find. So in the library, you have 3D objects, musics and sounds, different kinds of patches, which if we have time, we'll go through this. Then there are different kinds of textures we can use. There are 360 photos and many other things, mostly 360 photos with some realistic lighting and everything. Then there are blocks. So these are for extra features, like let's say if you're doing makeup, if you're making a makeup application or a face distortion application where your eyes and mouth look very weird, ripple if you want to see access. So these are extra features that you can add to your Spark AR setup. Then there are script packages where you have basic code scripts that are already present and you can make use of it. So when I clicked on the icosahedron model, which was this model here, I mean, so I selected an icosahedron and downloaded it from the AR library earlier. So that comes over here, which we can use later. So to use something like this, all you have to do is just select the parent, drag it here, drag it into the hierarchy, just like we do in Unity. And what happens is the icosahedron comes here. The transform tools are very similar to Unity. All you have to do is click and drag. Very simple. So to actually change, so if you want to move things, you have a button here. If you want to rotate, you have a button here, and then it is very simple. It is exactly the same as Unity. And then if you want to scale, it is very simple. It is exactly the same as Unity. So they've made so the same tools are used in most 3D softwares, and in Unity, Unreal Engine, Godot, every single one of these softwares. So it is easy for people to understand and navigate between each of these softwares. So moving on, you can see that here in the, okay, on the right is, when you click on any object, you will see information about that object, the transformation, the visible on off button, is that everything is here. We will look more into it a little later, but this is exactly the same as the inspector window in Unity. So you can relate to that. So on top here, you can switch between 2D view and 3D view for depending on whether you want to change the view. And then you can have different angles of views. You can just, instead of dragging and scrolling around, you can do this. Oh yeah, you can click on the scroll. The movement button, the camera movement button here is also similar to Unity. It is very similar. There are only slight differences, but you will find it more interactive in Spark AR than Unity. It is a lot more easier to use here. So another important setup is that so you can access the AR library from here, where you can choose, where we chose the 3D object, or to test on a device, all you have to do is click here, and then you can either download the Get Spark. There is an app called Spark AR Player. You can download that, or you can send it directly to your phone right now. So once you've made an application, all you have to do is click send, and you will get a notification on Instagram or Facebook, and then you can test your app on your phone without any hassle, without having to connect your phone, without having to transfer any file. All you have to do is press this button, and you can just test it on your phone. Just that simple. This is for the final upload and export. That will be for publishing the application once the development is done. So you don't have to worry about these for now. So if you need to know more about how to go deeper into it, you have documentation here. So you can just click on the documentation and learn more about it. So let's make our first face filter then. So before doing that, let me just explain what are the things that, so when you start a template, you will see that there will already be some things here. So by default, there will be something called the device, which you should not delete, because that is basically the phone. Like that will simulate your phone. You can see a small rectangle that represents your phone, and a small punch hole over here, which represents your phone's camera. So that is the basic device that is there. It will be present in even any blank project where you start from. And under device, there will be camera. So you can choose the camera. I mean, the camera will be here. So by default, this will be showing the front facing camera. You can choose to make it a back facing camera as well. Then there is focal distance. So focal distance is basically the minimum distance that is needed for the camera to detect your face. So that will be there by default. Then by default, there will be ambient light and directional light. Directional light, like we discussed in Unity, it is exactly the same. It is basically a sun. It shows you which angle the light should be shining. So depending on the angle, you can change the lighting. You can see how the light works with the icosahedron model. And then there is ambient light. It actually detects your environment and tries to adjust to the environment. So when you're using your phone, it works perfectly, but on the Spark AR Player, it may not do all of its magic. So here we have the icosahedron. So here is the mesh and here is the parent model, and then you can just move things around. So any object that you add into the scene window, which is similar to the hierarchy window, comes into the application play space. So let's just turn this off for a while, and then let's do something. So because we chose the template, chose the project as a face tracking project, there is something that got added by default is called the face tracker. So there is a layer called face tracker. Okay, actually you should call it object. So similar to game objects, these things are called objects. So we have the face tracker object. We can track multiple faces as well. All you need to do is add more face trackers. How you add face tracker is you have to go to either add object or right click here, and then an add tab comes here, and then you can see face tracker, plane tracker, fixed target tracker, and all of these stuff that you see exactly like in Unity when you click on the create button. So when you click face tracker, a face tracker comes up within the camera. If you click plane tracker, it will automatically turn into the plane tracker. Then you can add basic stuff like plane. Null object is similar to the empty game object that we create in Unity. Then there will be a 3D object where you need to add a mesh. Then there is something called the face mesh. So what we need now is to add a face mesh, because what I will be trying to do and show you is to make a basic face filter right now. So let's make a face filter. I'll just click on face mesh, and the face mesh automatically goes right as a child of the face tracker, because you need to track the face to actually place the face mesh. So the face mesh is a template mesh that actually adjusts with your face. However you move your face when you're opening the eyes, you can see here that when the person opens the eyes, opens the mouth, moves, smiles or not, the texture gets compressed and adjusts to the adjust to the face. So what we will do now is we'll place an image on top of it that makes it look like a filter. So let's make this, let's make a Joker filter. That is my favorite filter that I like to make during my workshops. So I'll be using a PNG image like this. Let me just see. I'll just open this up. This is what the image looks like. It is a PNG transparent image. So this was just, the artist just drew 3 triangles in Photoshop and then a random mouth, and that's it. Very simple. You can just draw it in Paint, but no, you can't draw it in Paint. You will need to make this in a software like Photoshop or GIMP or Inkscape to actually make it into a PNG. You need a PNG file that is transparent to actually make it, but even if it is not transparent also, that is fine, because if you need a fully, if you need a face tracker that needs to cover your face fully, you can make use of full images. So I'll be using this PNG right now, and what I'll do is I'll just open this up. So I have this here. All I have to do to bring it to the project is just drag, come to Spark AR, drop it here. And under this folder called textures, so I'm getting this simple texture. You can see exactly like in Unity, you can see all the texture details and stuff like this over here. Now now we need to figure out how to add this texture onto the face mesh. Okay, so the face mesh has its default material, but we need to make a new material and add the texture onto the material. So like in Unity, we need materials here. So let's create a material. So exactly like in Unity, you can go to the assets tab, either click on the add asset tab or right click here. Okay, you have to click on the add asset tab and then select material. So when you click on material, a new material comes up, and then you can type a name for the material. Let's say Joker underscore material. So I've made the Joker material, but the Joker material is still gray in color. So when I select the Joker material, you can see on the right of the inspector that you can see different kinds of shaders, exactly like we had in Unity. You can change the color of the material. So you can see the red, it changes to a red color if you select that. So I'm just going to change it back, Control Z, and then now I can choose the texture here. So I just select texture, and then you can see that the name of the image I used is final. So I can go back to Joker material. I can select, click on the drop down here and select final. So otherwise, you can choose an animation sequence, which will be a sequence of images, or a texture, a single texture. You can import another texture into this from any part of your computer. So since I already have this, I'll just select this, and that material got applied here. So now what I'll do is I'll go to the face mesh, and then on the face mesh, in the inspector, you can see that there is a tab called material with a plus sign. So I need to create a material, add a material here, and then when I click plus, it shows all the materials that are in the project. So now I need to add Joker material. I just add Joker material, and voila, it gets applied on your face. It is that simple. So you already have a Joker face, you already have this, and yeah, that's it. You have a face filter. So all you need to do to actually deploy it to your phone is go to this test on device button over here. Oh wait, before actually sending it, let me just test it on my face, and it comes. So the problem is it seems a little too materialistic for me. So what I will do is I will change some properties on the material. So I'm pretty sure that no speaker ever has put on a Joker face while taking a session. I'll probably the first one. Uh, so
That's
yeah,
nice.
thank you, ma'am. So when you select the Joker material, you can go to the shader type on the inspector, and then select. So by default, it is standard materials. Standard materials react to light. So depending on the light, I can the properties of the shader actually changes, because when I move the head up, the shadow changes. So what I'll do is I'll try different kinds of material, shaders. I'll just try flat first. Flat is too cartoony, so I'll just go to face paint. Face paint is too dark. I think it's probably face paint should have worked, but I think it's probably because of my lighting in my room. So, uh, oh no, okay. So okay. What about physically based? Not really. We'll just stick. Oh, there is some. When you change to physically based, it becomes a default template, and then you'll have to do it all over again. So I have to choose the texture again. Okay, let's choose physically based, and then. Okay, so physically based is also not great, so I'll just stick to standard itself. So this seems decent, it should come fine. Otherwise, usually for when you're applying images like this, you would go for face paint. So it would normally work well on the phone camera, because laptop cameras are not as good as the phone cameras. It doesn't react very well. Or you could have gone for flat. Flat is also fine for phone cameras. So standard is also fine. It looks we can tell people that it is material paint or something. So I'll just remove my face from here. I'll just choose someone else. You can try on different faces and see how it works. So it looks fine. So now let's deploy it to my phone. So what all I have to do is go to test on device, and then if so there is an app called Spark AR Player. If you want, you can download it. I never use it because you have to connect your phone to a USB and test it. But if you want detailed inputs, like when you're developing, like let's say if you want the FPS, if you want the performance of the APK, I mean performance of the effect and stuff like that, you could use Spark AR. But if you just want to see the app, see how it looks on your face, or see how the effect works, all you have to do is just click on send. So I'll just send it to my Instagram. All I have to do is I'll click send, and it is getting exported. So once it gets exported, it will automatically go to my phone, and I will get a notification. So it is taking some time here. So in the meantime, so it'll take some time to actually upload to in Instagram and to come as a notification on my phone. Hello, am I still audible? Sorry, I just
Yes, sir.
okay. Sorry, yeah, I was using my phone's internet and a call came and I thought my phone, my network might
Okay.
have got cut. So it got deployed, and I will soon get a notification on my phone. So you can see that we send the notification to Instagram. You can open and test the app, or you can have a test link. So if you want to ask someone else to try as well, you can have a maximum of 200 views in a day for one effect, and just all you have to do is just copy this link and send it to someone. Uh, I'll just send this link on chat so that you can also try. Um, where is chat? Okay. So if you want to try this filter right now, you can just click on this, or else, yeah. And then on Instagram, you can just open your camera and then try it. So yeah, that's the most of it. Let me just check my phone now. And on my phone, let me just turn on my camera to show it. So on my phone, I got a notification on the top that says preview. I'm not sure if you can see it. So preview the AR export. And then if I click on it, I can just try it out. If you're clicking the link, you would be directly going to the Instagram camera, and yeah, you can test it. You can test it out with your phone. So I think it should work with, yeah. And yes, so that's that. So I'll just turn off my camera again and go back to Spark AR, and let's look a little. We'll just wrap up in a bit. So now that we have this, let's try adding a 3D object onto the face. Now this is just the 2D image, right? You need a 3D. Let's try adding a 3D object. So we already have the icosahedron right here, right? But it is stuck on the screen. It is stuck on the center of the screen. It is not doing anything, and it's just there for no reason, right? So what we'll do is we'll just place this icosahedron on the user space, or we can just add a ball maybe. I'll just remove this. Let's make a Joker nose. I'll add search library, go for 3D shapes. I'll just import a sphere. Done. So we just imported a sphere which is here. All I have to do is just bring it in. So now the sphere comes here under focal distance, just like the icosahedron, which is not what we want, right? So it is just staying out there on the screen. If you just place it outside the face tracker, it just stays on the screen. If you want something to be diegetic, like a button or something, it can stay on the screen. If not, what you have to do is just drag it into the face tracker. Now, what happens is just now you can see that it is stuck to the user's nose. I can just pause it and move it around and place it wherever I want it. Um, when I hit play, it'll be stuck onto that position. So exactly like that, I'll just move it back to the nose. Make sure it is in the right position, and then hit play. And you can see that that's all you need to do to make a 3D face tracker app with 2D and 3D. Now let's see how you can change the color. So I'm pretty sure you might have guessed you'll need to make a material just like you did for Unity. So we'll do add asset, click material. So in material, let's say nose material, I'll just select type nose. And then all I have to do is change the color to red. Or if you prefer a different colored nose, we can use that. So now that we've made this material, just like we did for the face mesh, we'll just go to sphere. We need to apply that material here. So this particular sphere, this particular sphere material that we imported has two elements. So one is the parent object, that is a null, a game object kind of thing. There is a null object, and then there is a mesh that is under it. So we need to apply this texture onto the mesh. So this is the null object, and which is the parent, and this is the actual mesh, so which is a child of the sphere. So you need to go to the mesh. It will write here that it is a mesh. So if it is not a mesh, it will say that it is a 3D object instance, which is a null object. So you select mesh and then go to materials. So it has, by default, it comes with a sphere material, but we need to change it to nose material, and we have a red nose. It's too bright, so maybe we can just change it, darken it a bit. Click OK, and that's it. That's all you have to do to create a basic spark air filter. Let's say if I'll just change it to another person and see how it looks. Maybe we should move the sphere a little lower. Just pause. That's better. Now what I'll do is yeah, that's it. Now you can just click test. Just this time I'll send it to Facebook, and once I get the link, I'll share it with you. And in the meantime, if you have any questions so far, please just let me know, or let me just check if there are any questions in chat. Okay. So yes, it is just like motion tracking. Yes, it is exactly motion tracking, but with a lot more. So it has a lot more. So it is not exactly like motion tracking. Motion tracking happens when there is a there is a displacement in the motion, but depends on the algorithm that you use. But whatever I've seen is mostly depending on the change in the displacement. But this is basically by tracking the face features. So it tracks the point features, the significant features on your face, which is predefined, and depending on that, it gets placed on the face. So it is not just face, but there is a lot more that we can do. We can detect gestures and stuff like that, which I will show in just a moment. If you have any questions, you can ask really quick. We don't really have much time, so I'll just move on. If you have any questions, you can ask now. Okay, so since there are no questions, I'll just move on. So now I have it as a test link on Facebook. I'll just copy the link and then paste it here for you to try on Facebook. If you have the Facebook app on your phone, it should work very fine. So let's move on. Let's see how we can do interactions now. So now we'll go to the functionality part of this. So what we'll do is we'll need the patch editor like we discussed earlier. So I'll go to workspace and then show patch editor. This is what the patch editor looks like. So what we will be doing is taking the sphere and then making it big or small depending on how we open our mouth. So what I'll do is I need to track the mouth first, right? So for tracking the mouth is part of the face tracker. So what I'll do is I'll drag the face tracker from here and place it here. So now I have the face tracker. So now the patch editor is tracking my face. Let me just make this smaller and make this bigger so that you can see. So when I dragged and dropped the face tracker, 3 nodes just came in. So face finder, face select. So when you have multiple faces, you can have index based face selection. And then there is a face tracker 0. So the face tracker has 4 options, which is face, 3D position of the face, 3D scale, 3D rotation. So we won't be touching any of this right now. So what we will do is, you just see, what we need to do is we need to add more, we need to track the mouth. So what I'll do is I'll right click. So to add more nodes into it, add more functionality, you need to right click. Oh, before I explain that to you, in patch editor, there are basically three different kinds of functions that we can use. One is the one is the creator function, which is the producer patch, which is the original which is from where we are understanding the or getting the data, and then there is the function patch, which will be the middle or the functionality part, and then there will be the output patch. So these three together will be the producer patch for us. Then tracking the mouth and making tracking the mouth will be the the function patch, and for the output we will be giving the we'll just change this size of this red ball big and small. So making it big and small means changing the scale, so that will be the output patch. So to add interactions, all you have to do is right click here, and you will see that there are so many preset interactions that we can use. You can just select each of these interactions and see what each of these interactions does. It has a clear explanation. You can click on this and view documentation on another page, on a web page, and you can just browse through this. There are so many different kinds of things that you can use. So animations, different kinds of animations. If you have a 3D model with animations, or a 2D image kind of animation, GIF kind of animation, which will be a set of images, you can use these. Or if you want to just move things around within this 3D space, you can use these. Then there is audio. You can add a delay to the audio or add stuff to the audio. We won't be covering that because of the lack of time. So then there is device motion. Depending on where how the phone moves, you can code. So all of these interactivity you can use. Then there is the face landmarks like cheek, chin, nose. You can buy programmatically. You can place objects without even actually moving things here. Now, for now, we'll be using interaction. So under interactions in the face detection, there is blink, eyebrows lowered, raised. There are so many things: head shake, kissing face, left eye closed, mouth open, object tap. There is a lot. Screen pin, screen pan. You can do all of these interactions. So right now, what I need to track is the mouth. So I'll just select mouth open and then add patch. So now I have this patch for the mouth open part. So what I need to do is, it says it needs to connect to a face. So this is the face tracker's face, and then when I click on this, I can see that the first connector is called face. So you can see, okay, I'm not sure if it is visible. I'll just zoom in. Um, Sorry. Okay. So you can see this arrow over here that says face, and then I'll connect it to this face. All you have to do is drag and drop. That's connected. That's done. So in mouth open, there is open state and openness. So open state is where shows you whether the mouth is open or not, which is a Boolean kind of thing, which is true or false. And the openness is a is a float state where it goes from 0 to 1 and all the values in between. So now what we need to do is apply that openness to the sphere's size, right? So we'll just select scale. Let's see. Do I need animation? Let me just check. No, I don't need animation. Probably need something else. Just give me a second. I'm just missing something. I'm just missing the word right now. So okay, I think I need to Google this. I'm not really sure. I just missed it. Just give me a second. All I have to do is, if I don't know what, if you're not sure what to do something, you can just Google that. So you can just Google, and then you can go to the documentation. So yeah, the documentation is very unique. You can go to the documentation page and see how it works. So oh yes, transition. That's what I was going to say. Okay. So what we will do is we'll select transition. So it is very funny when you forget a specific word and everything goes downhill, but that's totally fine because we have Google. Like we Google has every single answer. So what we will do is we'll select this openness to the first part of transition. What transition does is takes a value depending on how the what is going on, and then you can set a start value and an end value. It will linearly change from one to the other, so you can choose whether it should be linear or sinusoidal or any kind of graph, but I'll just need linear because I need it to be decent, like I need to be straightforward. So it can start from 0 to 1. So I'm not going to say it should start from 0 to 1. I'll just make it from 0.5. So the start value has to be the start size of the ball, and the end value should be the biggest size of the ball when the mouth is completely open. You can see that when the person is opening the mouth, the value goes very high. Right now the value is staying at zero point 0.1 because she is barely smiling. When she is open, closes the mouth, it's 0, and when she opens the mouth, it goes up to 0 0.7, 0 0.8, or maybe even 1, depending on how big the person's mouth is. So I'll just start from zero point 0.5 scale and then move it to maybe 3. So that is the value I'm giving. So we have this 3D scale. So how did we get this? Let me just delete this and show you again. So to get this, you have to select the sphere, and then you have these buttons over here. You see the arrow buttons over here. These are the buttons that can be given as an output patch in SparkAR. So you can select either position, scale, rotation, or visible or animation. I'll just select scale since that's what we need, and the output patches are in yellow always. So all you have to do is connect this value to this, and we are done. So when the mouth is closed, the ball is very small. When the mouth is open, it becomes very big. So that is that. So it's very simple. So similarly, if you want to try some other kind of editor, some other kind of experience, I'll just we can also test. Just once we are done, we can just click on refresh. I'll just refresh the Instagram link, and when we are completely done, we can click on upload and export. When you click on upload and export, it shows how the device compatibility on each platform as well. So it says that iOS. So this file is 210 on iOS, 198 KB on Android and older. So the main criteria is that it has to stay under 10 MB for Facebook and 4 MB for Instagram. So that's it. And once it is done, you can just click upload, and it gets uploaded to the SparkAR hub. Once it is uploaded, you can go to the online link. It will automatically open itself. It usually automatically opens on most laptops. Otherwise, you can go to just search for SparkAR hub. So it automatically opened for me. Go to SparkAR hub, and then there you can add more details to your effect, like give it a name, should I deploy to Instagram or Facebook, and which account owner, which Instagram account, and categories. You need to put a video, you need to upload the video file. So the video has to be shot on Instagram or SparkAR player, and then you can upload an image as well, and then publication date and more information. So once you've uploaded it, once you've saved and submitted it, it goes for review by Instagram. So Instagram will review the whole your whole effect, and then let you know whether they they will publish it or not. If they do not publish it, they'll tell you why they can't publish it. If you use images or models that are not owned by you, or that are not under a free and open source MIT license or a CC CC license, which is a creator license, it doesn't it doesn't publish it. If you use a person's face of image of someone's face or something like that who is not famous in general, even if it is famous, you'll need consent from the person to actually use the image. So just like that, you'll have your Instagram filter published. Usually it takes about 2 days to actually publish to Instagram. Once it is done, you can just post a video. It will show up on your Instagram feed itself, on your feed itself, or on Facebook. You'll get a share link. You can attach it to any page. If your college is doing a let's say an event, you can make a Instagram filter or a Facebook filter, and then connect it to your page. Every person who comes and likes the page or sees the page will get a notification that there is an AR filter, or they can see that there is an AR filter and they can try it out. So that is about Spark AR. So similarly, you can let me just open up. I can just save and close. So you make sure that you save the project, because you'll need to upload this project file to Instagram to actually make it public. So I'll just save. So yeah, I'm very satisfied. Close. I'll just click close, and then you'll go back to the templates. So you can choose any other template and similarly work on any of these. I'll just quickly show you how the world object template works. So this uses the back camera, and it places a 3D object in the world space. So you can see like this, it uses a back camera, and all you have to do to test each of these is just go to test device, send to app, and then test it. You'll understand that. So when you're seeing this, the difference between the difference between the face tracker and the plane tracker is that the plane tracker won't be within the device handle. It will be outside the device handle, and because it needs to take the phone's native orientation as well. So, and then you can see that there is an object called delete me. You can just replace this object with any other object, and you can add functionality to it. You can do all sorts of stuff to it. You can make changes within this itself. So that's it. This is all you need to know to actually make an effect on um, Spark AR. So you can try all these effects. Everything is self-explanatory, and if it is hard to understand, you can always go to the Spark AR. So go to the Spark AR website, and there is a button called Learn. Just click on Learn, and then you will get all so many tutorials on how to make each of these effects. There are a lot of very complicated functionality that it can use, which is very interesting. So yeah, let me just show you some things that some companies have done with Spark AR. I was not sure if I had the time to actually show this, so I'll just quickly show superfan.ai. Yep, this is the one. So there's a company called Superfan which makes which is a particular company that makes Spark AR filters especially for movies. So you might have seen the Yendiran 2 movie had a filter where you could turn into the Akshay Kumar's character. So this company actually made that. So there are many movies that, okay, let me see if they have, see, you can see, okay, you can just see this, because without the audio it is very weird. I'll just share the link here real quick. And then let's see if I can find Akshay Kumar's AR filter. Okay, it's not, okay, it's not on YouTube. Sanjay Diya. for the movie Sanju, there was an AR filter as well. Okay, that is not available on YouTube as well. Probably it's only on Facebook. Yeah, this is the. Okay, I'm so sorry. I think I'll just leave it to you to find it. This will be very weird if I just look for it. So, yeah, that's about it. Do you have any questions? Any other questions? I just have one other thing that I would like to show you, which will be on for Unity, which will take only 2 minutes. Can you use two-finger touch on mobile to increase or decrease size of sphere? Yes, you can do that. So all you have to do is, let me just quickly create this. Oh shit. So sorry. So you just turn on patch editor. Okay, this is a way, this already has so many things on it. So I'll just add something. I'll just show it to you on the side. So all you need to, okay, yeah. So you have screen tap, screen pan, screen rotate, screen pinch. All of these can be added. How you add is among the functions, all you have to do is go to interaction. Sorry, not interaction. Sorry. Yeah, in interaction you can have screen pan, which will be interaction. Click on screen pinch, add patch. So screen pinch is here. You can similarly add screen. Oh yeah, under interaction you can add screen tap or screen pan as well. So yeah, I'll just do this. So yeah, you are similarly all you have to do is just start with this. So this will be the first thing that you'll need. As since it's a functional, you won't need a you know input patch for this. You won't need a producer patch for using these. You can just connect it to any object and then similarly just connect this to transition and then use it. Hope that answers your question. Any other questions? Okay, let me show you one thing that is very interesting with Spark AR. I'll go back to YouTube. I am very sure that this thing is there on YouTube, so don't worry about that. So you can actually make complete games in Spark AR as well. Tutorials that actually do that. Let me just find the right kind of game to show you. Okay, I'll just choose this and see. Just hope that it has that. We need to go to the last part of this tutorial. Having ads is very weird. So we will. So you can see that here. This is a simple game that this developer has made, which is like you just tilt your head to actually just tilt your head or tilt your phone. So this here you will be tilting your head. When you tilt your head, your face shows up on the uh, on the animated character, and then you can tilt your head to make it. So it has a this developer has made a really good interesting tutorial for this. It is a pretty long tutorial. It would take you about maybe 1 to 2 hours to make this, but it is very interesting. So similarly there is Sparkyar. Oh, there are only tutorials. I can't find the game videos anymore because there are so many people creating the community of Spark AR is really great. So there are people making tutorials, there are people answering questions online. So let's see. This is part one. So yeah, you can see here that he has made a simple dino kind of game here where you can just jump if you hit. So it is still, the developer is still developing it. So uh, there is nothing, you can see that how easy it is to make something like this. All you need is the proper art stuff, and then you can actually just start working with it. It's, yeah, so more than this, you can do product launches and stuff. So if you remember, the OnePlus Nord phone was actually launched first on AR. So they had an AR launch where you had an AR filter from the OnePlus Instagram page where you can see the phone getting launched. You can see the phone in 3D. You can see the features and stuff like that. So yeah, that's about it. And before ending the session, I would like to show you just one quick thing. When you're using Unity, right now, if you're using, I mentioned that there is AR Core, AR Kit, Vuforia is not doesn't seem to be supported on the recent versions. But the best way to work with Unity is to use something called AR Foundation. So, which is something that Unity comes with. So this you can go for, there are several courses, like free courses online. It will take only 1 hour or 2 hours to learn the basics. So there are template samples that are available online. So all you have to do to get this online on is just go to Unity. Let's see if my Unity opens up, and then in the package manager search for AR Foundation, and then select AR Foundation, and then when you select it, it shows I just so there will be an import button, download button, and import button. You can just click on import, and it will automatically get imported to the scene. And once it is imported, to make an AR scene, you need to add, first you need to add XR rig, and then you'll see to add XR rig, all you have to do is right click, go to XR, and then you will see so many options here. You start with main camera to XR rig, and then add, if you want to track face, you click on this. If you want to track a plane, you click on this. If you want a point cloud of the environment, you can click on this, and then other stuff. So yeah, you can learn about more about these on YouTube or any similar thing, or you can learn it on Unity Learn as well. So yes, that is about it. I guess if you have any more questions, just let me know. Or if you want to see more videos, just let me know. I can show you more examples. If you want specific examples of something, if I know about it, I can show it to you or explain it to you. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on this event as a speaker for the last 4 days on the hands-on session. Hope you had a good time working on trying this out. I hope at least some of you have tried this on Unity, and I hope some of you will try Spark AR as well, because Spark AR is for everyone and anyone. So Spark AR is easy to use as well. If you can spend like 1 hour or a half an hour or even 15 minutes with Spark AR, you can actually build uh, an amazing filter. So yes, any questions?
Participants, do you have any questions?
Okay,
Participants, any questions?
so please send some video links for Spark AR. So would you want, what kind of links would you want? So something that someone can learn from, or something that is for demo purpose? If it is for learning, you can go to one of my favorite creators is this person called Maru. So I have a friend of mine who works with Maru. So Maru is an amazing developer, and he makes amazing tutorials. So all you have to do is go to his channel, and otherwise you can just search for Spark AR, and like you just saw, you will only see tutorials. So depending on what you want to make, you can just these are all like, think about this, just a
There's
blinking
one
game.
question for you, sir. There's one
Okay.
question for you. For
Okay.
carrying out simple student projects, is AR better or VR better to start with? What do you recommend? This is the question.
Uh, Actually, both are okay. Like I did very simple projects of AR and VR back in college. So that was way before the all of these softwares grew to this level, which makes it easier for anyone to use AR or VR. I know school students who can make AR and VR apps in Unity and Unreal Engine. I know personally know a student in 10th standard who actually won a hackathon of Alliance actually to make you know to win a hackathon using by making an AR application. So it is very easy for engineering students. They have the advantage of the understanding of more technology, so they can depending on what kind of AR and VR application they'll be building. Uh, you know, they can make it. So there are so many things they can make. There is not just one or two things that can be suggested. So I think it would be better if you would read more about AR and VR applications. I think I showed you some of the videos. You could ask the students to replicate some of these projects, or you can just you know ask them to find out a problem that can be solved with VR or AR, rather than just focusing on something that can be, that can be an AR project or a VR project. It would be better if you could provide the students with a problem that needs to be solved. So any problem that can be solved, it doesn't really have to be AR or VR, but if you can figure out a problem that can be solved with AR or VR, you can ask the student to figure out whether they need to use VR or AR. If it is VR, how would they go about it? And if it even if it is VR, what other technology would they need to actually implement it? Let's say like if it is AR, let's say if they need some kind of IoT integration, or if they need some kind of a web integration. So you can club all these domains together. So AR and VR are basically the visual aspect of things, functionally visual aspect of things. So there are a lot of things that can be clubbed with this. It can be applied in any domain, starting from any domain in engineering, like even civil engineering, mechanical engineering, which usually people think is not supposed to be clubbed with anything software. But every single automobile company or every single mechanical company, oil rigs, everyone is using VR technology right now, even AR technology right now, marketing, even if it is mass communication, even channels are coming out with more, TV channels are coming out with AR and VR experiences, movies are coming out with it, marketing channels are coming out with it. I remember that there are management people here. There are many marketing opportunities with AR and VR that can be brought out, and especially Spark AR is a great marketing tool as well. Please tell us more
Next.
about the torch augmented reality. Oh, sorry, there's a question before that. So we
Yes.
can
Can we
create.
create graphic images in Spark AR?
No, you will need to create the images in some other software. Like I said, Spark AR is like Unity itself. It is not, you'll need to create the images or 3D models from somewhere else, like GIMP. GIMP is a free and open source image editing software, or you can either use Photoshop or something like that. Students could easily learn and try, or probably most of them already know softwares like this, or if they don't, even they can learn it very quickly for making basic stuff. So yeah, so if there are like Spark AR is very useful for people who students who know who are interested in arts. If they are good with painting or arts or sketching, they have a better they would be able to create the art part of the project, and then they can club with anyone who would like to do the functional part of the project. So for any project, there needs to be someone who designs the project, someone who there will be some people who do the tech part. So it is a team effort to create any of these apps, and if someone has all these skills all together, they can create it on their own. Yes, Krita is an amazing tool that you can use. I would suggest Krita over Gym for sure. Krita is definitely better.
Okay.
uh, So please tell more about the Torch augmented reality project. So you can view Torch. Let me just see if I can find the link. I think it was sort of a hobby project that my friend did when he was at CIID. So okay, let's see. So you can find more details about it here in this link. Let's see if it loads. Okay, the page is taking time to load. I'll just share the link. Oh yeah. So you can find details about it here in this link. I'll just share the link in chat. Yeah, if you're thinking the project was discontinued a little later because the creator had moved on to better things, this was a passion project of his. But there is still scope for this. There is another company named that I met called let's see. Yeah. This company is also creating it, but I'm not sure if they have you know, they have come up with a product. I mean, they have launched it on their website yet, but this is a company that is working in that domain. So they are creating collaborative workspaces using projected AR. So it is not really a torch, but it has they're having projected experiences where people remotely can play different games or even work together using 3D interactive touch and stuff like that. I'm not sure if they have showcased it on their website anywhere because it is still proprietary and they are awaiting patents and stuff. There are a lot of things that they have IP for, but their Instagram page shows. You can go to their Instagram page and see some of their demos. They post some of their working demos once in a while. So yeah, any more questions?
Okay. I don't think so.
Oh,
No.
okay. I think we went a lot over the time. I think I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Madhav Nair, sir, for informative and interesting presentations. Actually, your presentations played a major role in this ATAL FDP on augmented reality and virtual reality. Thanks for joining us for all the 4 days and giving us interesting presentations, right from introduction to Unity or building app for Unity or hands-on VR and today's Spark VR effects, all those things. So you dominated the show with your excellent, clear, and clinically oriented presentation, I would say. It was extremely helpful for all of us. You're such a wonderful speaker. Thank you. Thanks a lot for having
Well, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you everyone for having me.
me. And I request all the participants to fill the feedback form and attendance form which has been shared here. And please join us by 2:30. Only 10 minutes break for you. Sorry for that. And
Yeah,
you can join.
I am so sorry for that.
No, they
I,
were the people like interested, right? They were asking questions and you were answering what's there in there. Thank you, thank you. Thanks a lot for having. I mean, you dominated the show, the complete whole 4 days. Your presentations were so interesting and informative. Thank you,
thank you,
sir.
ma'am.
Yeah. So please join us by 2:30. All the participants.